So Lindsey Graham at least is disclosing, to his credit, the amount of times like he lobbied the president and went to Netanyahu, and I'll get to that. I do wonder whether it's been disclosed that these other Fox News contributors were in the president's ear and actually making the case to him over and over, because we spent a lot of time on this show ripping on people over on MSNBC, like the historian, what's his name, John Meacham, for writing President Biden's speech for him and then going on MSNBC and praising the speech. So if you were a key advisor to President Trump, pushing him to get into this war, you cannot go out on the airwaves of Fox and just act like a random pundit supporting it. You have to disclose, and maybe they did, but you do have to disclose that you have a horse in the race. You helped make it happen. That's an important thing to disclose. But here's Lindsey Graham, the Wall Street Journal. He gave an interview to the Journal, so this is not their secret reporting. This is him. To help make the case on Iran, Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks, meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency. Quote, "They'll tell me things our own government won't tell me." He spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, coaching him on how to lobby President Trump for action. Netanyahu showed the president intelligence that persuaded Trump to go ahead, said Graham. Now, like we continue to be called anti-Semitic if you say that we're doing this because of Israel. We are 100% doing this because of Israel. If you used a but-for cause, would we be doing this if Israel were not involved? The answer is no, we wouldn't. We've heard that from Marco Rubio. Now we hear that from Lindsey Graham directly. It's been reported by left and right-wing outlets alike. Israel was the one pushing for this war. And Lindsey Graham helped, and so did some Fox News contributors, and so did many others who are Israel firsters, like Mark Levin. He goes on to say, Graham talked to the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as well to make sure he was aware. I went to MBS to say, okay, I think this is going down. Talk about the Fox News contributors who took turns calling the president and compared notes, Graham said. There were not a lot of other voices advancing the argument for action. I will pause here to say, I don't begrudge them that they thought this was a good idea. I happen to love Mark Thiessen, and I have nothing but respect for General Keane. I deeply admire both of them. I'm talking about what Fox is or is not requiring of them in terms of disclosures. But look, the president, I love the president, and clearly he's in support of the war. I, unlike so many of my critics, can hold in my head two things at one time. We disagree vehemently on policy, but you're not a bad person. Okay, to me, that's a leftist fucking thing to do that. And these people who want to cut people out of the conservative movement because they're anti-Israel, they're anti-war, is sick. It's sick and deranged. I'm not one of them. Here's another. Trump called Graham this week to praise his television appearances. Oh my God. Graham saw an opportunity. The senator said he pitched Trump on bombing Iranian and Hezbollah elements inside Lebanon. Trump said he'd think about it. Graham recalled, quote, "I just think he has seen the capability of our military." Graham goes on, "What I don't understand is why more people don't do it. Try to shape these events. This is a moment of world history here. Just jump in the deep end of the pool." This guy is a homicidal maniac with a bloodlust that is insatiable. He got us into the Iranian war, Lindsey Graham. Now he wants us to get involved in a Lebanese war, which is Israel's already starting or involved in. And he wants us to go into Cuba. From the sound of it, possibly, is that a boots on the ground situation? I don't know. But this guy should be nowhere near President Trump. He should not be allowed within 20 feet of the president's orbit. And the president should make the decision to keep this guy the hell away from him, or at least in his own mind, shut down his influence. This is not a force for good in the United States of America, Lindsey Graham.
It's funny because I think making the argument passionately for a conflict with Iran is an argument you can make. A lot of people are highly convinced of this, and I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem here is, and the thing that I guess shocks me that Trump keeps him in his orbit at all, is because he keeps admitting this stuff that he's right. He's attempting to manipulate the president of the United States. I would think Trump would hate that and hate anyone who would ever admit that. Because for example, like Megyn, like you're passionate about a lot of things. I'm passionate about a lot of things. If you went to President Trump and you talked to him about an issue about men playing in women's sports, and you were able to convince him to influence him in some way to pass a bill that brought some sanity into that world, like there'd be no problem with you doing that. There's no problem with you doing that. There's no problem with Lindsey Graham, in theory, making an argument about what he thinks is right. I don't have that issue, right? I think that's okay. And at the end of the day, it comes down to it is the president's responsibility to listen to all these voices, the team of rivals, listen to all
And
of
he
them.
listened to Tucker
And
Carlson too. To his credit, Tucker
yeah,
made the hard case against the war, and the president listened to him and
mhm.
ultimately overruled him, and as is his right. He's the president, not Tucker, not Lindsey.
Exactly. And a lot of those people the same people who are making the argument for Iran and maybe won the day on that particular issue, were making the same argument about Ukraine and maybe didn't win that one. And I think President Trump is taking these things individually and trying to judge them on the merits of the situation. I'm very risk averse on this stuff, though, right? And someone like Lindsey Graham isn't. He is, like get out there, mix it up, and like let all the chips fall all over the place. And sometimes they fall on American citizens, and I that makes me very, very nervous. And to come back a little bit to the political side of this should be the central focus of the American conservative movement when you're talking about just political strategy. We have a bunch of these senators and House members who are in very conservative districts that we can do better than. We can improve those situations without losing the
Settle for
seats.
more.
Oh, yes, thank you. A lot of times we seem to do this thing where we're like, well, we have a moderate in a place like Delaware, and we're like, oh, we got to make sure we take out that moderate in Delaware. Look, I would like everyone to be as conservative as possible, but you want the most conservative person in an area that is able to win. And look, that is not because I care about winning per se. It's about it because I care about the policies behind that winning. And we keep sitting here. John Cornyn's another one here in Texas. Like we have really good senators in red states. We should be able to put them in. Go after these primaries in sensible ways, win them with conservative candidates, and then bring those candidates into the forefront in the states where they can easily win. A lot of
That's
times
a
we
good
just
point.
wind up getting off. We're like, oh well, this guy's been there forever, so let's just keep him there. We should
I
try
know.
to be
What is Lindsey
improving
like?
these
What are the people of
situations.
South Carolina doing with Lindsey Graham? Honestly, this man, like he has undermined the safety of the United States long enough. He's undermined the president's valuable inputs long enough, and he's making this whole thing into a national laughing stock. Oh, we are the police of the world. That's what he said. There are bad guys all over the world. We're on the march against them. Whoa, whoa, whoa! You have no fucking kids and no fucking clue. Those of us who have children, especially the moms I know who have kids who are in the armed forces, don't have the same bloodlust that you have, childless, weird man. It's really upsetting to me that because Lindsey Graham decided in his dark corner basement that he wanted to get off again watching bombs blow up, 7 service personnel are now dead. I'm sorry, but I just feel like he has no fucking compassion for human life. All he wants to do is see bombs go off. And President Trump needs to understand that he is undermining everything President Trump is doing. Pete Hegseth is taking a lot of heat for sounding very bellicose and kind of threatening and unapologetic about the power of the American military. I understand that criticism because normally when we talk about ourselves as the American military, we use humility because we know we're the strongest. So it doesn't make us look good to talk about how strong we are and how we can crush anybody. But I forgive Pete Hegseth because he's in the middle of commanding a war. President Trump, too, is in the middle of, he's the ultimate commander. But President Trump Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is running this military operation at the top with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And of course, he's in a certain mindset right now, and he needs also to worry about comms, communications. And so that's where he's coming at it from. Lindsey Graham is inexcusable and should not be allowed back on television. Period. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced financial strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold so you too can have peace of mind, regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.